At Kure Naval Arsenal, Allied inspectors found dozens of hulls, but not the ones they expected. At Yokosuka, submarines appeared that had never been listed in surrender documents. Destroyers supposedly sunk in 1945 turned up moored and serviceable. And beyond Japan itself, the problem multiplied. Outposts from Hong Kong to Singapore were cluttered with abandoned craft. Minesweepers, merchant auxiliaries, even captured vessels from other nations lay scattered across Asia's seas. Sorting the wreckage of empire was proving nearly impossible. The Allies pressed harder. They demanded an exact tally. What had been sunk in combat, what had been scuttled, and what remained afloat. But the numbers didn't add up. Some vessels were listed in multiple categories, both destroyed and still active. Others had vanished from the record entirely. To American intelligence officers, it seemed less like confusion and more like deliberate obfuscation. Was this simply the chaos of a collapsed empire, or were Japanese officers hiding something? The concern wasn't academic. In 1945 and 1946, Allied shipping lanes were crowded. Millions of soldiers, prisoners of war, and displaced civilians were being ferried across the Pacific and Indian Oceans. A single Japanese submarine, still at large, could wreak havoc. The Allies knew Japan had experimented with radical weapons, manned suicide torpedoes, tiny one-man subs, and even the massive I-400 class, designed to carry bombers across oceans. If even a fraction of these remained at sea, they could strike at vulnerable targets. And so Allied commanders feared the unthinkable, that a fragment of the Imperial Navy had escaped surrender, preparing for a last act of defiance. The official record insisted the fleet was finished, but the contradictions remained. Ships counted twice, others never counted at all. Some said to be sunk were later sighted afloat. For the men tasked with securing the Pacific, these mysteries could not be ignored. If vessels had slipped through the cracks, where had they gone? And who still commanded them? By early 1946, Allied commanders were no longer willing to gamble. The paperwork confusion, the missing hulls, the fear of rogue submarines at sea, all of it demanded a final solution. And so, a quiet operation began. It was called Operation Road's End. The plan was simple. Every surviving Japanese submarine of value would be gathered, towed into deep water off the Goto Islands, and sunk beyond recovery. Japan's undersea fleet would be erased forever. In April 1946, more than 20 I-class submarines, massive ocean-going giants, some nearly 400 feet long, were scuttled in a single operation.